for checking out my micro drawings channel. Today I'll show you at the end how I get my picture into that little acrylic frame or holder. I'm starting off drawing Kelvin and Hobbes. Hobbes is sneaking up and pouncing on Kelvin when he's unsuspectingly playing with his trucks. And to get started, I'm using my Copic Multiliner 0.03 to create Kelvin. Kelvin's kind of towards the background on the right of the drawing here, and you're just seeing the back of his shirt and the bottom of his shoes as he's kind of, down on his knees like a little kid will do, pushing around his truck. There goes his spiky hair, and I'll continue to draw him in here. He's pretty small, and like I said, he's kind of in the background, and then above him will be Hobbes. So there's not a ton of detail here because you're only seeing the back side of him. And just kind of getting the box of the semi-truck, his little arm in there. And there you can see compared to a quarter, so pretty small. So if you take a quarter out of your pocket, if you happen to have one, or off the dresser or table, and just imagine how small that is. Lines. So what I'm seeing is that arced line of his tail, and that kind of continues through. You'll see on it as I'm drawing his back and his arms outstretched. It's kind of a long arcing line. In this case, I'm adding the bottom of his legs, or his paws, his back paws, and there goes his back in there and continues right down through his shoulders to the end of his arms there, and they're outstretched, of course, because he's pouncing on Kelvin. And I've read some of the books on Bill Watterson and his creating of Kelvin and Hobbes and adjustments initially, and just kind of interesting to look at him. The hands on Hobbes are, his back feet are more like paws, but his front ones, or upper ones closer to his head, are more like hands, and they've got 4 fingers. And if you look at Kelvin's parents too, they've got like 4 fingers, and their hands are bigger, scale wise. So just kind of interesting to pay attention to that. There's the shadow from Hobbes being up in the sky. So again, there's the quarter. The quarter easily covers up both of the figures. Now I'm moving on to the Copic sketch markers. That's my orange chrome, and sometimes I need to rotate the paper to get that fine tip in, so it works easier to usually draw the fine tip towards me if I'm going on a really thin area like the tail there. There's cotton pearl. Not much going on for Kelvin skin color wise here, just the back of his ears and then his little arm. And there's cadmium yellow. That's his hair color. Again, not taking long. There's just not a lot of surface area to cover here. And then there's my vermilion red that I use for his red shirt. And I left the lines on Hobbes and on Kelvin's shirt until the end. These are alcohol-based markers, and the Copic Multiliner isn't supposed to get smudged, but if you do happen to leave a little extra ink on the paper and it's still wet and not fully dried, it will smudge. So I just thought it would be easier to go color in the orange and red first, and then add the stripes or the lines afterwards. So that's what I was just doing there with Hobbes, and there goes Kelvin's, the stripes on his shirt. So again, there's the quarter for scale, pretty much done here. Next I'll wrap up by putting on today's date, 7/22 of 2021. And there's a pencil for scale as well as my finger. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'll show you how I get the drawings into these acrylic display cases. There's the brand. It's an Isaac Jacobs. I think it's 2 by 3 inches. So I've got the cardboard on the table to protect the table finish, and there I'm kind of sizing it up, getting it centered. And then I'll use this utility knife or box cutter type knife to cut around it carefully. And there you can see I cut it, and then just popping that out, put it onto the back piece. And there's 4 little magnets, one in each corner, that hold this together. And that's about all there is to it, but it ends up looking pretty sharp. Kind of a neat way to display, and then of course I can change pictures in and out during the year as well. Thanks again, have a great day. And please subscribe and share if you haven't.